What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Fire Sports Takes podcast. And boy, do I love this sport of football, ladies and gentlemen. What a weekend we had. From Thursday to the Sunday night football game. This league, this sport is the greatest sport in the history of sports, ladies and gentlemen. And let's start this Overreaction Monday off with an absolute bang. The Jacksonville Jaguars can win the Super Bowl. Let me say that one more time. The Jacksonville Jaguars can win the Super Bowl. That team is on a 6-game win streak. In that 6-game win streak, they beat the Chargers, they beat the Broncos. The Broncos are currently the number 1 seed in the AFC if the playoffs started today. The Chargers are the number 5 seed in the AFC if the playoffs started today. The Jaguars played both of those teams, and the point difference in those two games combined was 49 points. They didn't just beat them, they put belt. And especially today, on Sunday, against the Denver Broncos team that was number 1 in the NFL in third down percentage defensively, number 1 in the NFL in red zone efficiency defensively. The Jaguars were 4 for 5 in the red zone. The Jaguars completed 53% of their third downs. That's way above league average. Trevor Lawrence has 10 touchdowns, 0 interceptions in his last 2 games. He's playing at an MVP level. Almost 1,200 yards in his last 4 games. He's playing at MVP level. This Jaguars defense has allowed more than 20 points just once over this 6-game win streak, and they'd be on an 8-game win streak if it wasn't for 26 points in the fourth quarter by Davis Mills. If you watch this Jaguars team play, their defense is flying all over the field. They're getting pressure on the quarterback. They make plays. They create turnovers. This offense is clicking on all cylinders. That was even without Faisal Tutin, Liam Cohen, Ben Johnson, Coach of the Year candidates. Either one can have it. They've been incredible. Liam Cohen has done a fantastic job for a team that was picking 3rd overall in the draft last year. Looks like the best team in the AFC in December. Shout out to Jacksonville Jaguars. We got to get into the Patriots because obviously last week as a Jets fan, I was riding the Drake Maye hate train and he crushed me. He broke my heart. He tore my heart out of my body in that fourth quarter because I was so ready to go on here and rip on Drake Maye. But I texted in my group chat, my fantasy group chat. I'm like, let's see if Drake Maye can be superhero, kind of sarcastically when they were down 11. And Drake Maye did exactly just that because that throw to Kyle Williams was unbelievable. And Kyle Williams is a guy that I was so high on. If you remember back in the draft, I think he was a top 5 rookie receiver, the top 5 receiver in this draft class in my eyes. He is an absolute stud. I don't know if I had him in the top 5. I think he was close. He was 5 or 6. He's an absolute stud. He needs to see the field more. Every time they throw the ball in his direction, he makes a play. He's a problem. Diggs had a great night. But the Patriots do have some glaring issues. It was just an electric weekend of football. Tomorrow's episode, we'll dive right into the college football playoff, and we'll recap all of that. But for today, we're just going to keep it NFL, traditional Overreaction Monday. And the college football playoff was pretty electric in its own right, even though we did have the 2 G5 games. Those other 2 games were also electric. Oklahoma, Alabama, Texas A&M, Miami, which I like. People are saying it was boring. I had a very entertaining time. Like, I was one of the most entertaining 10-3 games that I can remember. But we'll start this from the top. We'll go back to Saturday. And I can't, like, literally, the Thursday night football game was great. The Alabama game on Friday was great. The Bears game on Saturday, the A&M game on Saturday was great. And then Sunday, we had a plethora of electric football. How could you not love football, ladies and gentlemen? Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you smash that like button. Let's dive in. And I will say I was also 10-6 on my picks on the NFL Week 16 preview episode that I drop every Friday, previewing every week. I was 10-6 on those picks. That has my picks up to 145 and 117 on the year. Pretty good. My bank account does not reflect my picks that I've been giving out, but if you followed every single one verbatim, you'd be up a pretty decent. You'd be up a few units for sure. So make sure you hit the subscribe button so you get notified when I drop those new episodes, or you follow on Spotify if you're listening on Spotify. Eagles at Commanders. This was a good win for the Eagles. They needed back-to-back good showings out of Jalen Hurts and his offense, and I think that's huge going into their upcoming matchup against the Buffalo Bills. And I think they should take care of Buffalo because on paper, this Eagles team is better than this Buffalo Bills team. The only real common denominator is quarterback play, or the only real, not even common denominator, the only real angle, like the only real upper hand that the Bills have is quarterback play. But I think if you go position for position, the Eagles are quite literally better at every single one. Like besides running back, obviously this year, but Saquon's still Saquon. He's not been what James Cook has been. So I guess you could say running back, but it's not like that's that's like that blows them out of the water. Either way, I digress. The Eagles are also getting Jalen Carter and Lane Johnson back. Those are arguably their best player on offense and arguably their best player on defense. I love Quinyon Mitchell, so I'm not gonna just say he's Jalen Carter's the best player on defense, but he's huge for them. This was a good win. I will say this though, if Marcus Mariota doesn't get hurt, do the Commanders hang around in this game? I think they might. I honestly think they might. Mariota was slinging it a little bit. Josh Johnson's not the greatest. We'll see. Shout out Cooper DeJean for an interception. We won't hang on this game too long because I don't want I'm not gonna hang around on the stinker games for too long because I'll look up and we'll be at 50 minutes and I don't want this episode to go on forever. But I think the Eagles currently right now are the third best team in the NFC. But I feel like that's hard for me to say that because I have the Chicago Bears at 4, but the Bears beat the Eagles head to head. So it's like, what am I doing here? Why do we play the games? But who are you trusting more in a playoff situation? The team that is the defending Super Bowl champion that's getting Jalen Carter back and getting Lane Johnson back and trending in the right direction? Or are you trusting the red hot Bears team, who they did need an onside kick to be a Packers team led by Malik Willis? And we'll get into this. It's a good segue into the Bears, but I trust the Eagles more in the playoffs right now than Chicago. I don't think that's crazy to say that, even though the Bears did beat the brakes off the Eagles a couple of weeks ago. I still don't think that's crazy to say that. And I don't want to look like I'm disrespecting the Bears. You know, if you've been following for a little bit, you know that did not do me well. I had a hot take Tuesday back in August. I said the Bears might be picking first overall. What a clown I am. Counterpoint, I said the Broncos are going to be gross. The Broncos are gross. Either way, Packers, Bears, we can't say enough about Caleb Williams, man. That guy has been under so much scrutiny since the start of the season, and we have just seen him get better and better and better, more accurate and accurate and accurate, and settle in with this offense. And he has been so incredibly clutch. Caleb Williams, a lot of drop passes, and that's been a theme. I don't know the exact number, but I'm sure the Bears have to be up there in drop passes because there are some games this year where the Bears receivers have let Caleb Williams down. There's also been some times this year where Caleb Williams just misses from the pocket. I'm seeing those less and less as we get along with the season. And obviously, I think besides Josh Allen, Caleb Williams is the hardest quarterback to sack in the NFL. He's getting better and better and better. His confidence is just rising. I think that the Browns game, the throw he made to DJ Moore, and then some of the throws he was making in that game, his confidence is just sky high right now. And then he has the dagger, the game winner to DJ Moore. Caleb Williams is playing. I don't want to say anything too crazy, so I'm going to relax. But he's looked like the number 1 overall pick. He's looked like the ceiling. Like we've seen glimpses of the ceiling, and the floor just gets higher and higher. If you're an NFC North fan, you should be a little bit scared of the way Caleb Williams is playing and the confidence that he's starting to play with, because he has looked like the real deal over the past few weeks. And that Packers defense without Micah Parsons, yeah, it's still good. It's still pretty good. Obviously not what it was with Micah, but it's still pretty good. And it was just the thing with Caleb too is he looks so comfortable in 2-minute drill scenarios. Like that's where he looks like he's at his best, is in the 2-minute drill, because he's not playing. He doesn't have to think. He can just go out there and play. And that's what's scary. And we even saw that last year in his rookie season. Like he had some crazy comeback efforts. Like there was one game against the Vikings in particular. I think they got an onside kick actually. Don't quote me on that. But he was just crazy down the stretch. Even that Lions game on Thanksgiving, like he just makes plays down the stretch. And obviously, or in 2-minute drill scenarios, he's like I think he's going to have Mahomes, Allen. Like that sounds crazy, but he has that type of like he's already so comfortable in those 2-minute scenarios where he can just go out and play. He has the clutch factor clearly. We've seen it a million times this season. He's going, dude. Caleb's going to be gross, man. And this is such a different tone on him, just such a different attitude on him than I had earlier in the year. But I want you guys to understand one thing. I'm a Jets fan. The Jets absolutely suck. I don't like Ben Johnson. I hate on Ben Johnson because he declined to even interview with the New York Jets. I'm like, what coordinator? Who do you think you are? Clearly, he was good enough to do that, obviously, because the Bears are the 3rd seed in the NFC right now. But like that's why I had a little bit of a vendetta against the Bears. I also thought everybody was overhyping them. Like they were a team that I thought everybody was overhyping. Like these offensive linemen that they brought in, and they've been tremendous. There were question marks. Like Tooney's age was a question mark. Jonah Jackson coming off shoulder surgery, that's a question mark. The left tackle is a question mark. Like there were still question marks on the offensive line. They've all played great. They have all been unbelievable. The Bears offense as a whole has been unbelievable. Like They're very good. They are a very good football team. They can, I don't know if they can make it out of the NFC, but honestly, at this point, who knows? Who knows? Like they are that good. Caleb Williams is playing with confidence, and that fourth down touchdown that he threw as well to yeah, that was to extend the game in overtime, right? That fourth down touchdown, there was the same scenario as it was the first time they played the Packers. And this time he made the play. Packers sent the all-out blitz. He found the guy. I don't even know the guy's name. I think he's a rookie. And the guy did the sickest little walk thing. I don't know what that's called. The walk that he did, the celebration. It was awesome. So good for the Bears. Good for Bears fans. Like as a Jets fan, tortured franchise. Bears haven't been as tortured, obviously. But over the past few years, like the quarterback position, they can never get it right. They could never get it right. It looks like they got it right. So good for the Bears. They're very good. You wouldn't want to, I don't want to go through Soldier Field at all if I was a team like the 49ers, if I was a team. I feel like the Seahawks or Rams would be pretty fine going through Soldier Field. What are the other ones? Like if the Panthers went, who am I missing here? The Lions or Packers? I guess like no, I wouldn't want to go to Soldier Field. I wouldn't want to go to Soldier Field. At the end of the day, Caleb Williams, franchise quarterback. As far as the Packers are concerned, their season was over when Micah Parsons went down. I said this last week. Like their roster right now is worse than it was last year, and the roster last year was a first round exit just because of the injuries. Like it's really just because of the injuries, and who knows with Jordan Love and his concussion as well. So now we'll get through to the 1:00 Sunday games. Jets 6 at Saints 29 really quick. Tyler Shuck, good. Brady Cook, garbage. Should never see the field again. Chris Olave, really good. That fucking fourth quarter touchdown that Chris Olave caught was just dagger through the heart. I was in the semifinals in 3 fantasy leagues today. Lost all 3 of them. Maybe I need George Kittle to outscore Jonathan Taylor by like 2 points, but basically lost all 3 of them. 2 of them I was playing Chris Olave. That last second Taysom Hill touchdown to him was just a real, kick a man while he's down. It was unnecessary. Saints 29, Jets 6. Jets have the worst defense in the NFL. I think they need to they need to pick a quarterback this year. I think they do. I think the offense is literally a quarterback away. I've said this a million times, but they have Garrett Wilson. I think AD Mitchell and Mechie is good enough for now. Good enough for now. With if Mason Taylor continues to develop, and the offensive line, they spent their last 2 first-round picks on tackles. Olu Fashanu, Armand Membu, good players. They extended Josh Myers. They have John Tittman. So the interior of the offensive line is pretty much set except for the guard position, which is either going to be AVT, Josh Simmons. Like they have options they could do. They could extend AVT. I don't recommend Elijah Vera Tucker because that guy can't stay on the field. I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that this guard free agency class is very low to like the interior offensive line. So go get one in free agency or re-sign the guys that you have in-house. And this offensive line is good. It's just they lead the NFL in sacks, or they're up there in sacks given away because Justin Fields can't get rid of the ball. Brady Cook can't get rid of the ball. When Tyrod Taylor was playing, he wasn't taking that many sacks because he can function in an offense as an NFL quarterback. These other guys can't in terms of passing the ball. And when Garrett Wilson goes down, you don't really have guys that can get separation. But if you throw a rookie quarterback in this offense, you're giving him way more to work with than you gave Zach Wilson. You're giving him way more to work with than you gave Sam Darnold. They were throwing the ball. Sam Darnold was throwing the ball to Jermaine Kearse and Robbie Anderson behind the worst offensive line in football. Zach Wilson is rookie, worst offensive line in football, throwing the ball to Denzel Mims and Elijah Moore. So like at least Zach had Garrett for a little bit for the last few years, but Sam literally had nobody. Nobody. Le'Veon Bell was the best weapon. Quincy Enunwa was good. He was always hurt. Like it was bad. This quarterback, Fernando Mendoza, Dante Moore, one of them. I'm happy with either one. I prefer Mendoza as of right now. That's subject to change if the play, like with the college football playoff. And I'm so excited for this playoffs because we're going to see Dante Moore versus Texas Tech. We're going to see Fernando Mendoza versus Alabama's defense is not that good. So hopefully they win and we can see Fernando Mendoza. We saw it versus Ohio State. That game sold me on Fernando Mendoza. Either way, I'm getting off track here. The point is, Jets need to take a quarterback this year. If Dante Moore declares and he's there, if he's not there, then I wouldn't mind just going with like a Jacoby Brissett, or I wonder what the Kyler Murray market will be. No, I don't want that contract. But either way, draft a quarterback, and then the next 7 picks this year and next year in the early rounds, all defensive players because they have the worst defense in the history of football. Shuck absolutely cooked them today. Trevor Lawrence had a career high in touchdowns last week. Their defense sucks. Bills 23, Browns 20. Josh Allen was not good. He was not good on Sunday, and he needs to play better. He can't afford the Bills roster is not good enough where Josh Allen can just take games off. Like it's not good enough in this playoff where Josh Allen can't. He has to be Superman every single game because their defense stinks. Their defense stinks, and their offense is not that good either outside of James Cook. Like, James Cook bailed Josh Allen and the Bills out today, and he's done that a few times. When you get to the playoffs and you're getting run defenses like Houston's, run defenses like Denver's, run defenses like Jacksonville's, if you can't run the ball, Josh Allen can't afford to take games off the way we've seen him just take games off, not be that MVP level. Like this Browns game, that Dolphins game comes to mind. The Falcons game comes to mind. The Texans game. Like, he has times against good defenses, Dolphins game excluded, that defense stinks, where he just absolutely shits the bed. He can't do that in the AFC playoff against a team like Jacksonville, against a team like Denver, against a team like Houston, against a team like even the Chargers, because they have offensive firepower, even though that O-line stinks. A team like the Patriots, if he he can't afford to play games like he did today and expect the Bills to go on a run. That being said, Josh Allen is a playoff riser. If you don't think Josh Allen plays better in the playoffs, or he shrinks in the playoffs, you simply do not watch him in the playoffs. Bengals game excluded. Josh Allen's phenomenal in the playoffs. It's just his defense allows 400 yards a game or 300 yards a game and 25 points per game against the Chiefs in the playoffs the 4 times that they played. Like, it's not Josh Allen's fault that the Chiefs are gross and the Bills defense can't stop them. Okay, Josh Allen has played very well in the playoffs against Kansas City for the most part. Obviously not perfect. Well, I mean, the 13-second game, he was literally pretty perfect in that game, like, objectively. But other than that, like, you can obviously nitpick here and there, but he's played pretty fucking good. Better than any other quarterback in the AFC has ever played against the Chiefs in the playoffs. The Chiefs are not in the playoffs this year. That's why it's hard to pick against the Bills. But then you look at their roster compared to Houston's, Jacksonville's, the rest of their team compared to Houston's, Jacksonville's, and Denver's, and even New England's, really, besides New England's offensive line. And if Milton Williams comes back, their defense is pretty solid. That's a whole nother problem we'll get into, is Patriots run defense. But, like, I don't know how you can trust the rest of this Bills team if Josh Allen is going to have games like he did today against Cleveland. So moving on, Chargers at Cowboys. Herbert was dialed. Here's what I'll say about the Cowboys. The Cowboys paid a lot of money to Deron Bland and Trayvon Diggs. $40 million a year going to those two guys. And I understand they haven't been on the field at the same time a lot this season. The Cowboys are allowing the 3rd most passing yards per attempt in the NFL. So you got 2 of the highest paid corner. Yeah, it might be. I don't know if it actually is the highest paid corner duo in the NFL, but that's just inexcusable. It's poor roster management, especially Trayvon Diggs. He has not been good, like, at all this season. He needs to be better. Their safeties are bad. Their pass rush is okay in the interior. Obviously, the edge rushers are not the greatest. They generate a lot of pressure, but it doesn't always convert to sacks because they don't have the guys on the outside to cover, and teams are just getting the ball out fast. We saw that again with LA today. I mean, Herbert wasn't really under a whole lot of pressure. Their defensive line sucks, and Herbert had time to throw, or their offensive line, sucks. So the Cowboys got to fix that side of the ball. And as far as the Chargers are concerned, I don't think they're a real contender in the AFC because of how Justin Herbert has played in the playoffs and how Justin Herbert has played this season. At times, he's made some horrible interceptions. He's thrown some horrible interceptions. He can't do that in a game against the Broncos, a game against the Texans, a game against the Jaguars, a game against the Patriots, or even the Bills. Literally every AFC team. He can't make stupid mistakes like that. And he hasn't shown he can consistently play at an elite level for 4 quarters in the playoffs yet. Also, this Chargers offensive line is horrible. And then against a team like the Texans or the Broncos, who lead the NFL in sacks, like, it's going to be trouble. Like, Herbert's going to have to play perfect football, get the ball out fast, and still that might not even be enough because that's how good those defenses are. And yeah, I don't see the Chargers. Good win against the Cowboys, but the Cowboys defense sucks. Their secondary sucks. I don't see the Chargers as a legitimate threat this year simply because of injuries. Like, if Slater and Zion Johnson and Bozeman, if everybody was playing on this offensive line, I think the Chargers would be a legitimate threat. I wouldn't want to see them, but they're not. They're all hurt, which is unfortunate. Like, it's not their fault, but it's unfortunate because they do have a very good defense that's just been playing better as the season has gone on. They held the Cowboys scoreless in the second half today. So yeah, I'm not a believer in the Chargers, and I think Herbert gets a little bit overhyped. At least maybe I'm just friends with a lot of Herbert Blazers, which is fair. If you like, I just don't. I think they look the other way when it comes to some of the interceptions he throws, and he makes some stupid interceptions. He makes some stupid decisions with the ball. Shout out Quentin Johnson. He went off today. What else? Dude, I write these notes and I don't even read them half the time. I just get going. Joe Milton sighting. He played at the end of this game. He fumbled. So nice. JJ McCarthy, Vikings 16, Giants 13. Jackson Dart was horrible. What was it? One interception, 33 yards, took 5 sacks. He was bad. This Flores off defense is just a nightmare for any quarterback. I still believe in Jackson Dart. I'm not going to hop off after one game. It was really bad. He was not good at all. JJ McCarthy also got hurt on a play where the Vikings didn't block Brian Burns. Should probably block that guy. He genuinely has a case for the second best edge rusher in the NFL. Here's what I was thinking today while I was actually writing that. Like, is Myles, he's considered an edge rusher, right? Or is he a defensive end? And is there a difference? He rushes off the edge, but he's not an outside linebacker. Like TJ Watt's a linebacker. Garrett's a defensive end, but they're both edge rushers, right? I don't know. Something I was thinking about today. I don't know if that's irrelevant. Excuse me. All right. Bucks 20, Panthers 23. Let me get a water break in here. 11 of the 13 wins Bryce Young has on his career have come on game-winning drives. The dude has been unbelievably clutch in his career, not this season, or not just in his career, but this season specifically. You think about that Rams game, he had 2 fourth-down dots on Emmanuel Forbes' head, dot on third down to Coker. He was locked in the second half of this game. He dropped some absolute dimes, and we got to talk about Baker Mayfield, man. Baker Mayfield, since week 8, has a lower completion percentage over expected than J.J. McCarthy and a marginally better EPA than J.J. McCarthy. He has been as bad, slightly better than J.J. McCarthy since week 8. Since week 10, Baker has a 7 touchdown to 6 interception ratio. The Bucks are 1-6 in their last 7. They fumbled the NFC South. Should the Bucks reevaluate the quarterback position? I don't think so, because back-to-back 4,000 yards, 35 touchdowns a year ago. Baker can ball. It's obviously in there. I think he's playing with a little bit of an injury. But if he's not, then I think they should at least think about potentially reevaluating the QB position. Can you win a Super Bowl with Baker Mayfield the way he's been playing? I don't think you can. I don't think you can. Unless the roster is absolutely loaded. And I'll tell you this, the defense, they're a few pieces away. They have been dealing with a lot of injuries, but even a healthy Bucks defense, I don't think is that good. Who's rushing the passer off the edge? Their corners are lackluster, like Jamel Dean and Zion McCollum. Like those are not those aren't the answer. That's not the answer defensively. They're pieces away on the defensive side of the ball. Their offense should be elite. It really should, with the playmakers and the offensive line they have there. Todd Bowles has to go, obviously, so they need to bring in a new head coach. I don't know how I feel about Tampa, about Baker and Tampa at this very moment. That's why it's Overreaction Monday, because that's probably an overreaction. But if you ask yourself, do you think the Bucks can win a Super Bowl with Baker Mayfield? I think you'd probably say no. But shout out Bryce Young. I'll tell you this, I don't think the Carolina Panthers can go on a run, but I do think they can win a playoff game. I think the Carolina Panthers in Carolina, they're 5-2 at home this year. They're going to host a playoff game as long as they don't fumble the season away. That's not an easy out. That's not an easy out. They beat the Packers. They beat the Rams at home. They beat the Packers in Lambeau. This team can play with anybody on any given Sunday. Can they win 3 straight, and go to a Super Bowl? Probably not, because they have 0 pass rush. They have no pass rush at all. It doesn't exist. The defense is better against the run, but the pass rush does not exist. They don't have the weapons. They don't have the offensive firepower to get in the shootout. I almost said with a team like the Rams, but they literally did beat the Rams. But it's not consistent, right? They beat the Rams, they beat the Packers, they lost to the Saints twice. Like, it's just not consistent out of Carolina. So do I think they can win a playoff game? Absolutely, especially because it's going to be at home. They're 5-2 at home this season. But can they go on a 2-3 game win streak? Absolutely not. I think Panthers fans are pretty reasonable. They'll be like, yeah, I think that's a fair take. And they got to be more than happy with what they got out of Canales and what they got out of Bryce Young this year. And Bryce Young looks like a franchise guy, at least for a few. He earned himself an extra couple of years as the guy for sure. I don't know if you can win a Super Bowl with Bryce Young, but I mean, hey, let him develop, still let him get better. I agree. I think that's a good way to go about it. I think you should extend him now for 2 more years. Or I don't know. That's a tough one. Like, what kind of contract are you giving out to Bryce Young? That's a tough one to navigate there. If he asks for like Purdy money, fuck no, get that guy out of here. All right. Titans 26, Chiefs 9. The Chiefs losing to the Titans shows everybody just how valuable Patrick Mahomes is. Patrick Mahomes is the most valuable player to his team in the NFL. Easily. The Chiefs lost to the Titans, who are the worst team in the NFL, by 17 points. The Chiefs scored 9 points. They had the same amount of first downs. They had 9 first downs. The last time they didn't score double digits was week 18 last year, where they benched all their starters. Before that, the Chiefs have only scored less than double digits twice with Patrick Mahomes as the starter since 2018, since he became the starter. His first team out against the Titans defense that's 27th ranked in scoring, the Chiefs offense scores 9 points, only 9 first downs. Mahomes is easily the most valuable player to his team in the NFL. We saw just how bad this Chiefs team was by getting blown out by the Tennessee Titans, who are literally the worst team in the NFL. I think you should be more impressed that Patrick Mahomes had this Chiefs team within breathing distance of the playoffs and not tear him down because they were likely going to miss the playoffs, even though he never took a snap while mathematically eliminated because he did get hurt. He's incredible. Let's have some respect. Pat's the GOAT. He's the GOAT. I'll stand on that. Falcons 26, Cardinals 19. Oh, wait, I guess I should talk about the Miami game. Bengals 45, Dolphins 21. Quinn Ewers sucks. Joe Burrow's still good. And I would talk about Joe Burrow's trade destinations potentially, because that's just what we do in sports media. We blow things out of proportion. If everybody else is doing it, I might as well do it. I'll talk about it on a later episode. We got a jam-packed one here today, so I'll save my breath. Water break. Okay. Falcons 26 at Cardinals 19. Do the Arizona Cardinals take a quarterback? I think that's a question. As a Jets fan, these are the questions we're asking, because the Cardinals are sitting there with 3 wins. If the Jets squeak one out, which they probably won't, I think they play the Patriots. I don't know who else they play. I don't know who their other game is. Patriots, Bills, I think. Either way, do the Cardinals take a quarterback? The Jets are going to lose both those games, right? So they have one more. So they're going to win 3 games. The Cardinals win 3 games. The Jets have. Okay, the Cardinals shouldn't be in front of the Jets. That's what the Cardinals should not be in front of the Jets. But do the Cardinals take a quarterback? Because they're not good. Kyler, who knows what his future is? Jacoby Brissett, obviously not the answer. But they have a lot of talent on that offensive side of the ball in Arizona, man. They really do. Michael Wilson has been incredible. He's gross. Top 25 receiver, one of the best. Is he the wide receiver too, or is Marv the wide receiver too? Like, either way, him, Marv, and then Trey McBride's the best pass catching tight end in football right now. So they have weapons. Their offensive line is mid. It's not the greatest. It's not horrible. It's at least serviceable if you can have a decent quarterback back there, but they don't. And on the defensive side of the ball, like Josh Sweat went down today, but he's looking like a good signing. Walter Nolan's good in the short amount of games that he's played. The rookie out at Ole Miss. Will Johnson was by the way, Will Johnson is he was clamping Drake London today. Clamping his ass up. He is a problem. He was supposed to be like a top 10, 15 pick. I remember I wanted the Jets to get him. They were losing DJ Reed in free agency. I'm like, let's pick Will Johnson, pair him up with Sauce Gardner. We'll have the best cornerback tandem in the league for the next 20 years, 10 years, 5 years, whatever it was. Fast forward now, Sauce isn't on the team. Will Johnson was a 2nd-round pick, but he only fell because of the injury concern. And he's been an absolute stud. He's been a stud when he's been on the field. I remember early on in the season, I remember having that take. He got injured. Not sure how he's played, if this was his first game back or how he's played in the middle weeks of the season now. So maybe he's been getting exposed a little bit. But early in the season, he was a dog. Got hurt. Don't know how he played in the middle of the season. Saw him a little bit today because I was really focused on that Cardinals game because I had Jacoby Brissett as my fantasy quarterback. He had 18 plus every single week. The 1 week I need him because Patrick Mahomes gets hurt and it's the semifinals of the playoffs. He has 10. That's neither here nor there. I was watching that game a lot. I also had Drake London in a league as well. He had 5. That's neither here nor there. That's not the point. I'm not upset about it. I'm not upset about Drake London having 5 points in the semifinals of the fantasy matchup. He's getting clamped up by Will Johnson. I'm not upset with Jacoby Brissett has a season low in points as a starter. I'm not mad at it at all. I'm not mad at Rashee Rice for getting injured or not playing. I'm not mad at Patrick Mahomes for tearing his ACL. I'm not mad at all. Okay, so stop asking. I'm doing okay. I'm not mad that I benched Ashton Genty. I'm not mad about it. Okay, so stop asking. I'm not mad. I'll tell you this. My mom was absolutely grinding away in the kitchen today. And NFL Sundays are a bad day for the diet across America. It's a universal cheat day. The cookies, man. I think as you get older, the novelty of Christmas, in terms of like ranking the novelties that come with Christmas, getting presents stock drops, but your mother's cookies, pause. Oh, a tough pause there. Your mother's baking, your mother's baked good, the stock rises the older you get. Like I look more forward to the sugar cookies, the candy cane cookies, and the rum balls more than I do the presents. And let's just say I've been eviscerating sugar cookies left and right here. It's currently 3:30 in the morning. I had a cookie before we started recording. It's getting bad. Not a good time for the health. Not a good time at all. And I'm not upset about it one bit. I'll tell you that right now. She did a very fantastic job this year. They're tasting different. And usually we have these friends that come from Long Island when we lived in Connecticut. My mom's friend from college, they bring all their kids. They take all the sugar cookies with them. I never even get to see them. And those are my favorite, obviously, with the food coloring that they put on there. It's absolutely scrumptious, right? Well, we got the whole batch. They didn't come to North Carolina. We got the whole batch this year, ladies and gentlemen. So let me just tell you. I might be throwing on a few LBs over the next 5. And these, if you guys haven't had a rum ball, man, you guys are missing out. That is the single best. It's not even a cookie. I don't even know how to describe it. It's a ball of vanilla wafer, cinnamon, vanilla extract, and rum, and it is the most delicious ball you'll ever taste in your entire life. And she has to hide those usually. When I was a child, she would hide them because I would eat them all before Christmas, and they are an exclusive Christmas snack. She's not hiding them this year. And I got to tell you, Laura, I don't know if those things are making it to Christmas if you don't find a safe place to put them away. That's all I'm saying. Falcons, Cardinals. Will Johnson's gross. Will Johnson's gross. The Falcons are in a tough spot with their QB as well. They're in a similar spot as the Cardinals. Like, what are you doing at quarterback? But you have a lot of good young weapons. And the Falcons, more so than the Cardinals, have a lot of good defensive pieces. Their defense should be good for at least the next 3-4 years. Absolutely. With Jesse Bates, young pieces, and then the first name I say is Jesse Bates. But Xavier Watts, the rookie corner from Georgia. Terrell's not that young, but he's not old either. You could still milk out hopefully a few more good years of him. And then obviously Jalen Walker, James Pierce Jr., not Leonard Floyd. They had another guy, the guy that led the team in sacks last year. He's kind of young too, 4th-year player. I can't think of his name right now. And they have another defensive tackle that's in like their second year that's 3rd on the team in sacks. Like they have good young player. 4th round, I forget his name too. 4th round defensive tackle is like 5.5 sacks this year. The defensive tackles. So they got guys all over that defensive line. And this Jeff Ulbrich scheme has proven to be very productive because he was in New York and they had a couple of top 5 defenses. Like this Falcons defense should be good for a pretty decent stretch of time now. If they can just get the quarterback position, I think they'll be okay. And Raheem Morris probably on the way out too. And Zach Robinson, the OC, not the greatest either. But they have good young pieces. They need a quarterback, and I think this Falcons team can thrive. All right, Steelers, Lions. Let me just start off by saying Amon-Ra, it was pass interference. If anybody tells you that wasn't OPI, they're lying to you. It was. Was it a little ticky-tacky? Yes, it was. It was absolutely the correct call. It's crazy that they said it would have counted as a touchdown. No, it would not have. Like a forward progression was stopped. It was absolutely stopped. It was not a fumble. Forward progression was stopped. He was short anyway. It doesn't matter. Great win for the Steelers. Really, really good win for the Steelers. They were 7-point dogs on the road. I did say sprinkle the money line a little bit in my review episode. I did take the Steelers +7. Kind of a big deal. Whatever. We don't got to talk about it. We don't got to talk about it, guys. We don't got to talk about it, but I did say you could possibly sprinkle the Steelers money line in this spot. It's typical Tomlin road dog win. I did say that. I know you guys I know we don't have to talk about it, but I did say that. That isn't fact or fiction. I said that. It would be fact if people were asking. But Aaron Rodgers has been cooking, man. In the last 3 games, he's completed 72% of his passes for 774 yards, 5 touchdowns, 0 picks. The Steelers' offense in those 3 games is averaging 28 points, and they've won 3 straight. Not to rain on the Steelers fans' parade here, but the defenses they played, like the Dolphins and Ravens, both have bad secondaries, generate no pass rush. The Lions have a pretty good pass rush. Their secondary is crippled. Not good to begin with, and crippled. Can Rodgers spin the ball like that in the playoffs against a team like Houston or Buffalo or the Chargers? Probably not, because he couldn't even do it against the Bills a month ago. He completed 47% of his passes, didn't even have 125 yards through the air. But this offense looks different. I will say it looks a little bit different. Jalen Warren's been incredible. Kenneth Gainwell has been incredible. One of the most underrated 1-2 punches in the out of all of the backfields in the NFL, apparently, because they were incredible today. Jalen Warren's really been slept on for the past 3-4 years. He was buried behind Najee Harris and Kenneth Gainwell. The catch that he had I don't know how much of that was skill and luck, but either way, that was incredible. Seeing a play like that with the Michael Wilson one coinciding back to back was ridiculous. But either way, Aaron Rodgers has been great in the last 3 games. 72% of his passes, 775 yards, 5 touchdowns, no picks. The offense is averaging 28 points in that stretch, but the defenses have not been that good. And I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer Steelers guy here, but do you trust this offense against a team in the playoffs like Houston, LA, or Buffalo? I absolutely do not, because the offensive line is not that good. It's not that good. We saw Hutchinson get some pressure. We saw this Lions offensive line get some pressure. The thing of the Dolphins and the Ravens, they don't generate any pressure, and they have bad secondaries. So yeah, Aaron Rodgers looked good in those games, but you throw him up against the Broncos, who have one of the best pass rushes in football. You throw him up against the Houston Texans, who have one of the best pass rushes in football. He played Buffalo a month ago, and he completed 47% of his passes, barely broke 100 yards. So do you trust Perc Rodgers to play like this in the playoffs against some of the better defenses in the NFL that have good pass rushes and good secondary so they can cover DK Metcalf, and then good luck with the rest of your weapons offensively? I don't. So I think the Steelers are still a first round exit, but I don't say that as confidently today as I did 3-4 weeks ago. I will tell you that. I do have a bet on them to lose in the wild card round, which I'm very happy that I posted that. That's going to make me look like a ball knower. And I can't wait. If Stafford wins MVP, which he should, I put $6 on it to win 200 back in February. That's going to make me look like a real ball knower. Am I upset I didn't put more on it? You're damn right I am. But a win's a win. Got to see one go through. Raiders 21, Texans 23. Almost a devastating trap game for the Texans. They pulled it out, which I think is huge. Like, you got to be able to avoid the trap game. You got to be able to grind out the trap game. Obviously, they overlooked the Raiders. Ashton Genty cooked them, or they had like 130 yards on the ground. I don't even know what he had through the air, because he did catch that bomb. Derek Stingley's gross. I mean, the pick six was nasty. Like, he was literally going the other direction, plucked it out of midair. Like, he was going one way and then out of midair on the other way, knee on the ground, gets up, sprints it to the other. He's fucking gross. He's a real problem. Guaranteed a first team All Pro. I think back-to-back years. I don't know if he was first team last year, but he's gross. Texans are gross. I think if they lost this game, I would be concerned. The offense did not look good, and this was an offense that Jalen Hurts just absolutely lit up last week. So I don't know what we're watching in the film room. Clearly there were places to expose this Raiders defense in the secondary. Not sure how we couldn't find it. Either way, though, I'm not worried about the Texans because they almost lost to the Raiders. I would be worried about the Texans if they did lose to the Raiders. It's important to avoid that grudge match, that trap game. It's important to avoid it, and the Texans did just that. They don't play the Jaguars again. They played the Colts already, so I don't think they're going to win the division, especially with the Jags picking up that win against Denver, which we'll get into right now. Also, Raiders need a quarterback. I think Mendoza is going to be there pretty easily. He models his game after Brady. He literally said that. So, and Brady's an owner, so I think he's going to be a Raider. Jaguars 34, Denver 20. The Jaguars are the best team in the AFC. Trevor Lawrence in the last 4 weeks, 1,200 yards, 14 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 10 touchdowns in the last 2 games. The Jags are on a 6-game win streak. In that streak, they played the current number 1 seed in the AFC playoff and the current number 5 seed in the AFC playoff. So the best teams in the conference, and the best team in the conference and the best wild card team in the conference. The point difference in those 2 wins is 43. They beat the Chargers by 29. They beat the Broncos by 14. This Jaguars team is disgusting. The Broncos had the best red zone defense and the best third down defense in the league going into this game. The Jags were 53% on third down. They were 4 for 5 in the red zone. Cohen and this Jags coaching staff put on an absolute clinic, running circles around Sean Payton. They haven't allowed more than they've allowed more than 20 points just once in the 6-game win streak. And if it wasn't for Davis Mills and at 26 points in the fourth quarter, the comeback the Texans had against the Jags a month and a half ago, they'd be on an 8-game win streak. They've won 7 out of their last 8, and they've dominated the 2 playoff teams that they've seen in that stretch. This team can win the Super Bowl. This team can get out of the AFC. Trevor Lawrence is playing at an MVP level with this defense behind him, playing at an elite level over the past 6 games. The Jags are the real deal. As far as the Broncos go, I think they'll be fine. I mean, you don't win 11 straight with wins over the Packers, the Eagles, the healthy Chiefs, and the Texans, and then be considered fraudulent. If Knicks didn't fumble that exchange, I think they might come back in this game. I really do. That fumble was it for me, but he did. He did, and then he threw that pick on 4th down. That was the icing in the cake. But they have a legitimate weapon emerging there in Denver in the form of RJ Harvey. That dude is unbelievable. He's a dog. That run that he had today, ridiculous. He's a threat out of the backfield as well. This defense is still legit. They just got outcoached. Missed some crucial tackles on Parker Washington. Shout out to him. That guy killed the Broncos today. Lutz missed a kick. Cam Little didn't miss. It was a 3-phase smackdown by the Jags in Denver. So credit to them. They're the real deal. Got to tip your hat to Jacksonville. And as far as the Broncos are concerned, I wouldn't be that worried. I would you've won 11 straight. You're going to let one slip up. Just can't get out coached like this again, because they did get out coached. They said in the broadcast that during the bye week, Liam Cohen went back and hyper analyzed every single thing that they were doing. They switched the way Trevor Lawrence was standing. They decided to throw the ball more on first down. Like, Liam Cohen seems like a psycho, slightly autistic, which you kind of want in your head coach, where he's going to find everything. And he's done that. He's my coach of the year simply because the Jags were worse last year than they are now, and they're doing better, obviously. So, like the Bears, the turnaround was more impressive because the Jags were a worse team last year than they are today, than the Bears were last. Like, the Bears were bad last year. They weren't this bad. Like, they picked 10th. The Jaguars were picking 3rd. Now they're 11 wins. The Bears have 11 wins. The turnaround was better it was harder to, it's more impressive what Cohen has done in Jacksonville than what Ben Johnson did in Chicago so far. That's why I think, and I hate Ben Johnson, as I alluded to earlier in the episode. Even with my disdain for Ben Johnson after he blatantly disrespected my franchise, I still think that logic holds. Like, the Bears were in a better spot a year ago than the Jags were, and now they're in the same spot. So one rebuild job was better and just as fast. So yeah, Patriots 28, Ravens 24. This was the first comeback by 11 plus points in the fourth quarter by the New England Patriots since the 28-3 comeback by Tom Brady. That pisses me off. Lamar was 7 for 10. Don't forget, Lamar was 7 for 10 with 100 yards before he left the game. That's a pretty good stat line. Drake May just beat Snoop Huntley. Like, let's not talk too much about it. He beat Snoop Huntley. Good for Drake May. Good for the Patriots. They shouldn't have been down 11 against Snoop Huntley, but I'll give him his flowers. I'll give this fucking schmuck his flowers, because I was knocking on him last week. They needed him. They needed him. Where was he? Nowhere to be seen in the fourth quarter last week, right? Here he is today. Well, and then here he is today. Well, not ideal. Not ideal day to be a Drake May hater, opposed to last week where it was a phenomenal time to be a Drake May hater, and he was good for business. I think I got to double check. Pretty close to 100K views on all platforms with purely Drake May hate. So he's good for business, and he was going to be even better for business if he stunk today, which unfortunately he did not. He did quite the opposite. 380 yards, so he broke the 300 yard. He's done for 300 yards in a game now. I'm pretty sure that puts him second in passing yards in the NFL, and he had an 11-point comeback in the fourth quarter to basically clinch the division because they play the Jets and the Dolphins. So Drake May good at football. Still not putting him in a top 5, though. That's fucking ridiculous. Let's not act like the Ravens are a good football team either. Let's not act like the Ravens are a good football team. The Patriots needed an 11-point comeback in the fourth quarter against the Ravens, who have one of the worst defenses in football. They don't generate any pressure. 30th in sacks, 25th in pressures. And they needed a fourth quarter comeback against the Ravens, who didn't even have Lamar Jackson. Like, to sit here and act like this Patriots team is a real threat in the AFC would be malpractice. Because if you watch them play football, you understand that offensive line stinks. And the few times that Drake May has been under pressure by a good defensive line this season, he has shrunk. Second half of the Falcons game and the second half of the Bills game. The Ravens didn't get any pressure on him, and if you don't get pressure on him, he's going to carve you up. He's obviously deadly accurate. He's proven that time and time again. The throw to Kyle Williams. The fourth down throw to Stephon Diggs, even a dot, simple speed out. He needed to get it outside of that corner, and he did it, and it was a dot, big play. He's good. He's very accurate. But you get pressure on him, he shrinks. We saw that against Atlanta. We saw that in the second half of the Bills game. And let's not act like this Patriots defense can stop the run. They cannot. James Cook went off. Derrick Henry went off. And if you play a team like the Broncos, who's very committed to the run game, that has a good pass rush, if you play a team like the Texans, very committed to the run game, has a good pass rush. They play the Bills again, whose pass rush has gotten better and better as the year has gone on, that has a good run game. Good luck. They're not going to win a playoff game. They're not going to win a Super Bowl. Fuck, they're fucking good. They're pretty good, man. They're pretty good. They're pretty good. They're pretty good. I don't know what you want from me. They're pretty good. Everything I said for the most part was pretty legit, though. I think they can win a playoff game. Like, to say they're not, like, if they play the Chargers, I think they can beat the Chargers. Well, I don't know. 2 below 2 is pretty nasty. They're pretty nasty. But I will say this, man. I will say this and I'll say it again. The Patriots are not good enough to go on a playoff run because their offensive line stinks. And over the last few weeks without Milton Williams, they cannot stop the run. Derrick Henry just gashed them. James Cook gashed them a few weeks ago. And when you look at this Patriots offense and you look at the times this season where they've slowed down, there's two key parts that come to mind. They almost sold the game against the Falcons because the Falcons pass rush started to get after Drake May. They've sold the game against the Bills because this pass rush started to get after Drake May, and the defense also couldn't get a stop. You play a team like Houston, you play a team like Denver, you play a team, even the Chargers with Tuipulotu and that defense and that pass rush, even a team like the Bills with Bosa. And if Ed Oliver comes back, which he might, I don't know, probably not. But if he does, then you are going to be in trouble. You are going to be in trouble. You can't have an offensive line as bad and as injured as the New England Patriots and go on a run in the playoffs unless your receivers are Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, because that's basically what Joe Burrow did. But I'll tell you this: I love Kyle Williams as a Jets fan. Kyle Williams, my guy. Stephon Diggs and Kyle Williams and Booty are not Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. The Patriots are not going on a run in the playoffs. I refuse to believe it. Drake May, he looked pretty good. He's pretty good. He's pretty good. He's pretty good. I don't know what you want from him. He's pretty good. All right. I think that'll do it for today's episode. I don't have a preview for you. The hand up, I didn't prepare a preview for tomorrow's game, so I don't have a pick for you. But going off, what's the spread? I mean, I think the Niners are going to win. They don't get a lot of pass rush, though, San Francisco, which bodes well for a guy like Phillip Rivers. The Niners' secondary isn't the greatest, but the Niners' offense has been pretty much untouchable. I don't know how their run defense is, so I would look at that too if you're going to make a pick on this game. But anyway, hit the subscribe button. If you made it this far, hit the follow button, hit the like button. Go on the socials, Fire Sports Takes on all the socials. I love all of you guys. I'll catch you guys all in the next episode of the Fire Sports Takes podcast. Tomorrow we'll be going through College Football Playoff, Hot Takes Tuesday, all that stuff. I love you guys all. I'll catch you guys later. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Subscribe and hit the follow button if you're on Spotify, and hit the like button as well. I love you all.